What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson here. I want to kick off today's show by talking a little bit about the biggest question mark going into this week for the Bulls this offseason, and that's Josh Giddey. It's really been a question mark for a couple of months now. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher, however, resolution appears to be on the horizon here. The Bulls and Josh Giddey could make progress on finalizing a new contract following Labor Day weekend coming up here. Fisher suggested that players returning to their facilities could provide the push needed for the two sides to finalize a new deal here. Although training camp doesn't officially start until September 29th, players will likely be working out at the Advocate Center daily. While several Bulls have been training in Chicago throughout the offseason, the Australian-born Giddey has mostly spent his time back home. So and that comes as no surprise. I mean, when you're in a holdout there about a contract, wanting to earn something that the organization is not giving you, it's of no surprise that he kind of does his own thing there. So, and while Chicago does have all the leverage here, considering Giddey is a restricted free agent, there are several compromises worth entertaining to bring back the potential future All-Star here. I've talked about a couple of those in numerous episodes of this podcast thus far. I think if you're the Bulls, you have to look at this player as a guy who you have to bring back for this upcoming season in order for the rest of everything to kind of gel and work. You've kind of built your organization through a player like Josh Giddey, at least for this upcoming season. So in the near future, we have to hope a deal gets done. Time is ticking here. We're nearing the end of August. Training camp is on the horizon. So kind of wanted to, talk about the growing concern in Chicago amongst Bulls fans here. With time winding down before next month's training camp, there's growing panic in Chicago overall that this situation may not be resolved amicably. The expectation throughout the summer was that both sides would eventually reach a compromise. However, there's been no indication that the parties have made any real progress in negotiations. I mean, I've reported on it a few times. I've heard some things, but it definitely seems like the two sides are still pretty far apart as we stand here at the end of August, which is a growing concern. And Bulls fans should be concerned because he's a guy you have to have back. Now, it's a fair time for fans to start showing that concern that negotiations may never reach an agreeable point, which, of course, would mean that Giddey's days with the franchise would be numbered. If he doesn't sign that extension or that deal, he's going to become a restricted free agent next year, or an unrestricted free agent next year, I should say, which means he really was a waste of a trade. When you look at sending a big piece in Alex Caruso over to Oklahoma City for him, that becomes a major loss for this franchise. So I would hope they get this done. It's going to be a big part of my show moving into the next couple of weeks here because he is the biggest question mark for this team at the moment here. We're going to be dealing with question marks like I've talked about in terms of Kobe White and Adesanya next summer. But right now, and for what this team stands for and what he means to the organization, I think you got to get something done. You got to give that shot of energy, that shot in the arm to this team who really needs it at the moment. So, and of course, the best case scenario would be, and it's a very simple one, but that would be signing Giddey as soon as possible. It would allow him to at least get familiar with some of the new pieces and differences in Chicago up to this point, because it is going to be a different team moving forward in a couple of ways here. You're going to have guys like Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins back, obviously, but it allows for just continuity with this current organization and where the players stand for Giddey to get ready for this upcoming season. The sooner you sign him. So if I were the Bulls, I would like to see this thing get done towards the end of this month. I've said that countless times, or at least in early September, as it appears unlikely it's going to get done in the next couple of days by the end of August here. I just want him to be comfortable going into training camp and go into training camp with the right mentality. That would be optimal. Of course, the Bulls are going to make that difficult. It's just their forte at this point. So we'll see what happens. Overall, I just think, when you look at where this Bulls team is at right now, there's a lot of excitement around some of the of players on this team. I know Noah Sangay was a very exciting draft pick for this organization. They value him very much at his young age there. They think he's going to have a very bright future. Obviously, you have guys who really contributed this past year who are exciting pieces as well. There's a lot of good things about this Bulls team moving into this next season. Trey Jones is a bright spot. You got him locked up for the next couple of years here. Kevin Huerter, a very bright spot coming over for that as a result of that Levine trade. So people are very excited to watch him continue to contribute. In terms of Zach Collins and some of the other players on this organization, in this organization right now, there's a lot of fun pieces that are going to be available here. You're going to see Audasumu come back from injury. Nikola Vucevic will probably be back. I don't think he's going to get traded at this point. It was widely expected he would get moved at the start of the season. He's going to kick off the Eurobasket Championship soon here, and the real contests get underway. The practice, the preseason games for that or the practice matches are underway. So we'll definitely have him back. There's a lot of talent in this Bulls team. For a team that has a win total of 32.5, I just think there's a lot to go around in terms of talent. So we'll see what happens. It's a very interesting outlook for the Bulls right now because of that one outstanding question with Josh Giddey. And I just don't know where the sides stand at the moment. Time's ticking here, but if he comes back, I think you're going to see some exciting basketball take place, at least in the first couple of months of this season, moving up till probably February in the trade deadline where things could shake up depending on what happens. Hopefully everyone stays healthy. That's obviously a big plus there, as well as if you could keep everyone on the floor because there's a lot of talent to go around. So overall, the Bulls' outlook here, it really is kind of hinging on Josh Giddey and what happens with that contract. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that as we move into the next couple of weeks here. Around the league here, I have one big piece of news here. It involves a perennial Eastern Conference rival. This is kind of big news because he was a big contributor for this organization the last couple of years. The Cavaliers' Max Strus underwent foot surgery to repair a Jones fracture in his left foot. He will miss around 3 to 4 months. It's unfortunate for a player like that, the former DePaul Blue Demon, but Strus suffered the injury during a recent offseason workout there. At 28 years old, he joined the Cavs on a 4-year, $63 million sign-and trade 2 summers ago. He's played a pivotal role in Cleveland's rise as an Eastern Conference contender. That begs the question, is Cleveland going to be active in kind of making a move here before this upcoming season? Could they look to bring in another scorer? Could they look to possibly push to bring in another guard to kind of fill that void that's going to be left without Max Strus there? Max Strus is a very productive player, was a very solid guy on that team, and in the Eastern Conference, really dating back to his days with the Miami Heat. He's really come on strong. So just some significant news there for an Eastern Conference foe and a rival in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Overall, a lighter show today. Really, it centers around what's going on with Josh Giddey. Everything else seems to be in place for this Bulls team moving into this next season. All the pieces seem to be in place at the moment. So we'll see what happens. I know it's not the brightest Bulls roster, the most exciting and splashy Bulls roster you've ever seen, but I think there's a lot of young talent and a lot of reasons to want to be optimistic about some of these young players like Noah Sangay. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys up to date here. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me on today's show. Hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a long way for the show. Let me know what you guys think in the comments in terms of anything Bulls, what you want to see. Are you frustrated with the way things are going? I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. So again, thanks for joining me, guys. We will see you guys tomorrow.